Greetings. Thanks for joining me. I'm Suzanne Tickermeyer, and I'm stupid cold right now in Costa Rica. I'm actually wearing a sweater. We're having that kind of weather. Anytime the temp goes below 80, the sweater goes on. So if you know me, great, welcome. If you don't know me, I'm Suzanne Tickermeyer. I used to write a column called No Longer Quivering, the evangelical quiverful movement about the whole non-denominational, high demand religious organization ball of wax and how hard it is to deconstruct without losing your mind or your faith or anything else. And we do lose a lot when we deconstruct. We lose friends, we lose our entire support system, we lose everything. So I really like to read a lot right now during this season of raininess, and we're having an insane rainy season. I have owed Trey Ferguson a review of Theologizin Bigger for a long time now. I said, I'm going to do a review. I told him I was going to do a review back in the fall when this first came out. But those of you that know me know what happened for me in the fall that pretty much prevented this. My darling husband was diagnosed with cancer. We went through a whole bunch of different treatments and finally surgery and different things, and it didn't go well. He's cancer free now, but it's been quite the ordeal. And I should know better than to promise to do a review in the middle of a horrible ordeal. So that's what's happened. It's a twofold thing. That happened. And the other thing that happened was that I found out that I had a much bigger portion of African blood than I would have ever dreamed. I guess it makes sense since I'm from South Louisiana. I just didn't know. So I went back and forth with this book just a ton of times, particularly the second section that deals with white people. I went quite a bit because in the middle of all this going on with my husband, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about what do I do with this information? Because this changes my entire outlook on a lot of things. And I wasn't a racist beforehand. I tried my damnedest. I'm not a racist now. But when you have been raised and steeped in a culture and told you are one thing and you're not, it's like my mother with her head in the sand saying how they are English and Creole, English with a little bit of French blood, when really they're a bunch of, I don't even want to use the word kunas. So we call ourselves there. And she would not cop to that. And it always blew my mind because why are you denying your culture? So I have a whole new culture to read up on, more than I already have. I went through a I went through phase back in college where all I did was read Black authors. So Trey is a pastor in the Miami area, and his book is really it has very similar themes to the two books that I just did reviews on. The Adam Nimoy, The Most Human, and Kevin Young's book, Deconstruct, about deconstruction. I've lost the name of the book, Senioritis. So Trey's book, I really enjoyed it, but like I said, I kept rereading it. I kept getting stuck in sticky little bits, sticky parts of it that I had to keep going back and forth on and telling myself, what do I believe about this? What do I know to be true here? And the big theme of his entire book is freedom. It really is. One of the things that we've really struggled with as as humans is the fact that we want to put God in the box. We always do. We always want to put God in the box and use him for what we need. It's kind of like I just call him the holy slot machine because I know people who are all up into the whole prosperity gospel that treat God like that. So this book is not like that. This book is a journey to a deeper faith. It really is. And it's about theologizing bigger, like I say. You know, it it is something that makes us think, and this book is that's what it's done. It has made me think over and over about different things. It was a eye-opening book in a lot of ways. He made me think about things I had not thought about in years. It's not so much the indictment of status quo Christian as it is an explanation on how to get to that next level, what to do to take God out of that box and make him a bigger person. A bigger person. What am I saying? He's God. He's not a person. He's huge already, but we are not huge. Unfortunately, we are small, petty, limited people. And I kind of shudder every time I think about how many times that we've limited God in our lives. So many times. And no matter how hoary, weird, and deep faith gets, there are always those few voices that are going to point us back to a cinemascope widescreen faith, a faith that doesn't accept those limits as limits, the limits that we put on God. The thing that was another thing I really appreciated this about Trey's writing. Trey loves jokes. And since I'm one of those people to quote one of the Bennett sisters, I dearly love to laugh. I'm one of those folks. So I enjoyed the humorous spin that he put on a lot of different things. And I enjoyed the fact that it was a another map on how to get where you need to go. It's just one of those things. And it's one of the best religious books I've ever read because the best religious books are those that we keep coming back to and we keep examining the ideas in them again and again. I can tell you this is going to be one that I'm going to read over and over again, which I've already read parts of it over and over again, thinking about what do I think about that? And that's the nice thing about Trey. He doesn't tell you what to think. He points you to the guideposts that you will need to figure out what it is you actually believe and how to get to the next level. That's really the whole thing of the book. All these books I've been reviewing lately about the journey, the journey, the journey to get somewhere better, somewhere that you could not imagine when you started it. And this is a good book for anybody trying to go through deconstruction, reconstruction too, as well, because it frames God in a whole different way instead of the God that you may have gotten from your parents' church, who was small and limited. And Trey is a pretty smart dude. You can tell that from his writing. So, anyway, I really enjoyed it. I'll be returning to it again and again on my Kindle. And I advise anybody who's looking for a map to check out Trey's book. Excellent. Excellent. Trey, I'm sorry it took me so long to do this. And I explained why earlier because we got a really bad diagnosis and I got some weird news and we're off to the we're off to the races. But now everything is all settled down again, so I'm able to read during this horrible rainy season where it's just all it's doing is raining here in Costa Rica. We have beautiful, beautiful beaches here. But when it is raining so hard you can't see out the window, you're not going to spend any time at the beach. Okay, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification if you like. I'm going to go back to reading and reviewing books. I'm going to try to every week now. I read a whole lot of books. I got some downloaded right now that I'm going to be reading, including one written by somebody from the CDC about our recent medical crisis with COVID. I'm very interested in poking into that and taking a look, particularly since we have 3 new strains out there right now that are causing havoc. Um, so there you go. I need to get off here. You can hear I can't breathe, and that's not a good thing. Love you guys. I will see you the next time that I do a video, which will probably be Tuesday when I find something utterly ridiculous with evangelicalism to talk about. And I actually have some things right now. I think I'm going to talk on Tuesday about King James only versions of the Bible and how that Bible came about. why historians say it is the worst translation of all. That's one thing I've noticed. The people who are King James only are just not open to trying anything else but King James. Very short sighted. Okay. Love you guys.